All right, I'll go ahead and call this regular meeting of the Maple Run Unified Board of Directors to order at 6:02. Tonight is 18 April 2018. We're meeting at St. Albans Town Educational Center. We have 6 directors present representing 5 votes. First item on the agenda will be the agenda review. There's one item that administration would like to add. It would be item 8C under new business. This would be staff issues, and it will be disciplinary discussions about 2 employees. That will move into executive session, and we can do that under 1 VSA 313-4. Any other items to be added to the agenda by the board administration? No, then I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Second. Steve. Any discussions on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Agenda is approved 5-0. Please ask everybody to rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everybody. We'll start with our visitor section. Do we have any visitors tonight that would like to give testimony before the board? No? All right, move on to our host site presentation. Turn it over to Angela.
Thank you.
Sure.
Go all the way around the podium. Welcome to SATEC. I'm really pleased to have a great presentation tonight from students. Their coaches are here as well. Last month when I spoke to the board, I had mentioned our Odyssey of the Mind that had students across all 3 K-8 schools, and this enabled some opportunities for kids that might not have had it because we wouldn't have enough students to do so. This is another example of that, and I'm really pleased to have 4 of our students and 2 to 3 of our staff, actually there's a 3rd one who couldn't be here tonight, who participated. Our students went, and I never heard of this competition. It's the Vermont 3D, it's town history in action. And our group went, and I'm not going to steal all their thunder because they're going to explain things to you. They went and competed against 14 other teams and came in 2nd place. This is a team of 2 students who are enrolled at SATEC, 2 students who are enrolled at St. Albans City School. And it's a wonderful example of what unification has done in getting our students to work together and our staff to work together for a greater good, and our students getting this great opportunity. I think it's only the 4th year they've had the competition, if I read in their website. So it's a fairly new, but I'm going to turn it over to them and let them tell you about their competition, what they did, and the experience that they gained. So I'd like to introduce Tony Galley and Erica Borst, and these are our, what did I do? Grace. Erica couldn't be here tonight, so I called her Erica. This is Grace Borst. And I was all worried about saying her last name wrong. So please come up, and we can introduce our students as well. We have our SATEC and SAC students, McKenna Montgomery, Haley Newhall, Nick Crespin, and Jackson Hayes. So welcome, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.
I'll get out of the way in just a second. Thank you. My name is Tony Galley. I'm the tech integrator here. Grace Borst is one of the tech integrators at SACS. And Erica, who couldn't be here with us, Erica Bertucci, we were all lucky enough to bring some kids with us down to Randolph. So between the 2 buildings, we were able to work on the project. We started a while ago, and they'll get into more of the details. And they're going to talk about their learning. They're going to talk about the competition itself, and hopefully they'll talk about what they got out of the competition. And it was an exciting time. I had a lot of fun being there with all of them, and I hope that comes through in the presentation. So thank you. I'm going to step out of the way.
Well, I'm Nick, and obviously this is Jackson, as the teacher introduced us. But we chose Fairfield Street School because it was close to where we live, so we wanted to know more about it.
I'm Haley Newhall,
McKenna Montgomery.
and we chose the old post office in Preston House. We chose because it was sitting on the corner of Kingman Street and Federal Street, and it was just sitting there, so we were just wondering why it wasn't being used for anything.
So it really is a really pretty building, and when we went there, that's what everybody said to us, and they were wondering why it was just being used as storage. So, yeah.
Well,
We started late December and we ended March 29th.
obviously the competition was a pretty great experience to be able to go through as we challenged other competitors with our building and our buildings. So, it's pretty good.
What were some of your successes and struggles?
Some successes were finishing the building, as we didn't think we would be able to complete it in the time frame, as he started early January and I started mid-February. And it was a short time period and we got it done.
Some of our successes were just finishing together and being really proud of our building. And I think some difficulties were like starting the roof over and
The windows.
so.
My challenge was like halfway through we tried printing the building and it didn't print, it just ended up like all plastic pretty much. So I had to completely restart the building and I like had like not as much time left as I would have wanted. And I ended up finishing it, so that was probably my biggest success.
Well, my biggest challenge was whenever we tried to create a line, it would it wouldn't go correctly, and we'd have to keep redoing it till eventually it got corrected, and yeah.
Do you want to talk about, you started with the research, and then after you had the research taken care of, where did you start drawing?
We started with this one, so we just drew it out. So we started with just
The perimeter.
yeah, that. And then we just added the windows, the door, the steps, and then we started with the other side, and then we just kept going. And we did this one, which was, we were hoping this would be our finishing one, but it wasn't because we did something wrong with the doors, and something went wrong with the building right here.
Well, I did the two sides of our building, and he did the front and the back. And basically, where we started, we don't have our first printout here, but we started drawing just like windows and stuff.
Yeah, so we start with the sides. So we first, start on a flat surface, and then at a certain point when we had all the details in, we put it into 3D.
How do you put it into 3D? Can you explain?
So in the software that we're using, SketchUp, there's a tool like Extrude where you could pretty much make 2D objects, 3D objects.
What was the competition like when we were there? What did you guys do when you were at the competition? So, because we were there all day.
We had like, I think it was 8 or 9 judges come up to our table, and we had, not at a time, but it was like 4 in a group and then 5. We had to present to them each, and it was pretty great.
And like other people just came up to our table asking what we did, and we did our presentation for them. And then a couple of us stayed at the table doing the presentation, and then a couple of us went like wandering off to find out what other people were doing.
And then after a couple presentations, we kind of switched roles, and the other 2 would stay, and the other 2 would go look at different buildings. We were all given tickets to see which one we liked the most.
So we took the ticket and just brought it to the school that we liked most.
It was cool to see what other people had done aside from what we just did, because you got to see it from a different angle, and everybody did something different. Nobody did the same build, like everybody did their own town, and it was just like really cool to see.
Would you all want to do this again next year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it'd be a fun experience to not do the same building, but recreate something maybe a little bit bigger.
Now that we know what we're doing more.
Do you guys want to pass around the building so people could be on it?
This one?
That was the pretty building.
And you printed this.
Yeah.
So when you say you start to draw it, are you drawing it on software in
Yeah.
2D, or are you just drawing it on paper and then scanning it, or?
So we kind of drew it on paper first, just
Yeah.
to see the size measurements, and then we would put it on the software on our computers and stuff,
Yeah.
and that changed the whole perspective of it.
And how did you get it to scale with the dimensions of the building to be relative to the real building?
So you can just make it to scale when you're on the computer,
Yeah.
and then when you go to cut it, which is how the computer reads it, it'll shrink it down, like you can change the size you want it. So
So did you actually have dimensions, or did you just eyeball it and say, yeah, that looks kind of pretty much like the picture? You know, like the length and the width, because it could be longer, you know what I'm saying?
We didn't have exact measurements. I think that like the blueprints or anything like that. Oh.
You got photographs?
we went on Google Maps, and if you're on the top from Google Maps, you can measure that, and that's what
Great
we
idea.
did.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Very good idea.
So you were able to try to sort of guess the height of the roof
The
versus.
height, you can kind of like, so most doors are like the same height, right?
Yeah.
So we would like measure one of the school doors, and then we would like compare it with that, and then we'd see how many doors would fit up there. So that'd be how many feet, and then we just put that on the building.
Okay.
It certainly looks like the old courthouse. It's a pretty building, I agree.
So going around and looking at projects from other contestants, do you guys get any good ideas? Like, oh, I'm going to try something like that next year. Anything jump out at you that was really different?
Well, I mean, not so much doing exactly what this school did, but something like more outside the box. Like one school had a virtual reality thing where you could wear a headset and look around the building.
Yeah.
Not exactly like that, but like something more,
Close to that.
yeah, something, yeah, it's just really cool.
Is there just one substance that this printer uses, or can you put different materials in there? And
So
print with different
They
materials?
have one that you can print with different materials at our school, so here, you can only print with like solid, like plastic, with like what you just saw.
Those beads, or the beads that go in?
Well, You have to use types of plastic, but you can use different types of plastic. It comes on like a spool where it's like
Okay.
where it's like kind of rods almost spooled up.
And then you take that and you put it in this thing and then you hit start and it'll just wind it down, I guess.
How long does that take?
Well, it depends on the size. So like, size that we made to the courthouse, it took like 8 hours. And
Yeah, wow.
theirs
That's a
was
lot of
bigger,
process.
so it took longer.
And if we did ours a little bigger, it would take 11 hours.
Like, we wanted to make it hollow. That would have taken 11 hours, which seems weird, but that's solid. And if it was hollow, it would have taken a lot longer.
So you do other printing things in school too for other projects, right?
Yeah.
So in theory, if I had a really expensive tractive part that I give you a picture of, you guys could probably print something off. In theory, I'm not saying, I'm not asking you.
Well, it would depend on the size. You could make it in different parts and you could put it together.
Yeah,
Yeah, probably.
just wondering.
But it's in plastic, so it might not be that difficult.
Yeah, so you could, but the other machine at the other school has different materials that,
It has different materials, like rubbery and stuff, like
okay.
not like metal.
Not like, well, no, metal would be melting, do that, yeah.
Well, this melts to put it
This
on.
melts the plastic, right, okay, I got it.
Did you print those here at City School, both?
We printed
The
ours
courthouse was printed here, and then Fairfield Street School was printed at City School.
That's great.
So did you guys research the history of the two buildings too?
Yeah, we went to the, yeah, we went, there down on,
Church.
Yeah,
So what's one interesting fact about the Fairfield Street School?
it was built in 1911. That's a long time ago.
Is it an elementary school?
It was until, 1970, I think it was. And then they made it into a mental facility, yeah.
Huh.
And then they changed it in like the mid-90s into what it is now, it's apartments.
It's apartments now.
Apartments.
Is that- is that mental?
It was a mental facility?
It was like an outpatient.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't-
What about the old court?
That one was a fireproof building. It was made out of white marble. So all the buildings around it burnt, and that one was still standing. And that was just really cool to see. Like I was gonna say that the interior got gutted, but the exterior still remains exactly the same.
Huh. And you say they're using it as storage now?
Yeah, the People's Trust Company owns it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They own that block, the half of that block, yeah.
Kathy?
I just was wondering if you knew that Mrs. Gagne went to school. In that Fairfield school.
When it was a mental academy or
I was one of those 1970 years. It was a sheltered workshop.
That's great. And so second place, huh?
That's great.
Nice.
Congratulations. Very good job.
Yeah,
Nice job.
you did well. Thank you.
Nice work.
Thanks for all your hard work.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda then. Tonight we have the minutes from 4 April. We have a couple of resignations and reduction in FTE, and I believe we have 3 field trips in there. I think 1 to Ames, Iowa, and a couple to Montreal. So that's what's in there. Does anybody feel like any of those should be pulled out of the consent agenda for discussion? Okay, if not, if there's no objections then, these items will be adopted. Are there any objections? Seeing none, those items are adopted. Brings us to item 7, old business. We have a teacher retirement request.
Okay.
We started talking about this last meeting.
Well, I'll make a motion suggested by the school's attorney that the Maple Run Unified School District Board acknowledge and accept the resignation of Linda Lang effectively Friday, April 27th, 2018. Including this, I also move that Ms. Lang is not entitled to any early retirement benefit under the collective bargaining agreement side letter, and since she has not completed and the agreement, since she's not completed the school year. Furthermore, I move that we waive the contractual mandated $1,000 fee for breach of contract with respect to her failure to fulfill the contract.
Okay. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jeff. Discussion. I think we pretty much hit on this last meeting.
Yep.
We have a motion. So we have a motion, we have a second. No more discussion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. You'll let her know, Joan?
I am.
Thank you. Brings us to 8A, which is new business, funding for the non-E-rate
Yeah.
portion of the Network VoIP project. That's attachment 8A in your package. Who's going to speak to this?
Martha.
So on the attachment, just for clarification, there is also a small item that is not related to the non-E-rate portion of the network and VoIP. It's the fungi remediation of the common school up in Fairfield. That was an emergency issue that we needed to deal with, and there was no budget money set aside for that, so that's included in this request. So basically what the rest of this request is, as we've mentioned a few times at board meetings, we are in the process of upgrading our wide area network systems and implementing a new phone system, which we hope the new phone system will be up and operational for the start of the next school year, so August-ish. And the original cost, or the original cost for both the phone system and the upgrades to the wide area network come up to $524,937. Out of that, the upgrades to the wide area network are eligible for E-rate refunds to the tune of about $174,159. So the net cost to the capital reserve fund for that project, and for all of 3 of the projects listed, would be $350,778. Because we are accessing capital reserve funds, we need authorization from the school board to do so.
So you need a motion
Yes.
for what, the $350,778.
That would be the net cost, assuming that we do receive all of the E-rate refunds, which we anticipate we will, because we qualified for them, and the funds are supposedly going to be available.
Okay.
So I would actually request that you authorize the $524,000 with the anticipation of refunding the refund of $174,000, just in case the refund isn't quite exactly the same.
So just, I know you tell us this all the time, Martha, but how much is in the capital reserve fund?
Currently, in the capital reserve fund, we have available $2,597,207.
So look for a motion so we can have a discussion.
I'll make the motion to approve the capital reserve spending of $937 for the communications and the fund remediation. Yeah.
Okay. For a second?
Second.
Thanks, Sal.
So can I ask Martha, with I know this is focusing on communications, the common school was that all on us to pay for, or did the town?
As far as the remediation?
Yeah, was there any help from the town?
No, there was no
Okay.
help from the town, and we did request, and they said because we have the use of that building at no rent cost, they feel that that's their contribution
Right.
to the building, to our use of the building. So,
Right, okay.
So I had a question. Is this replacing the phone system at BFA that was so bad?
this replaces
for so
the phone
long?
system in all of our buildings.
Yeah, I knew it was all the buildings.
Fairfield.
But, okay, so
Fairfield,
nothing has
BFA.
happened since I was here before, because it was a very bad system.
It's still there.
Saying that, I just.
Hopefully this summer it will.
People are just used to it now, it's not so bad.
Yes. This includes Fairfield, the
Right.
common school and the main building. It includes Collins Pearly, the central office, city school, town school, and BFA.
And they're all
In the Northwest
compatible?
Center. Pardon?
They'll all be compatible?
It's going to be one system
System.
district-wide,
We'll
yes.
actually be able to call from one school to the other.
Oh, that sounds ominous.
What's that, Kevin?
We'll actually be able to call from one school to the other in a typical way is one system. So what happens now, Martha tells me, we actually still pay when we call out to another school.
Really?
It's that old of a
Really?
system.
Will it just be like an extension to call from, say, SATEC over to city
I
school?
believe so, yeah. This also will make all of our buildings be E911 compliant as
Yes.
well, which
You mean
we
they're
are not
not?
right now.
Now,
We are not right now. Some buildings are more than other buildings, but not all of them are.
So is this how it works, Martha? You usually front the entire amount and then you
Yes.
get reimbursed?
Yes,
So the 174 would come back to us?
yes. It would come back and it would go back into the capital reserve fund.
And then the other question I have is regarding the Fairfield School. The fungi remediation, is that part of the communications upgrade?
No, that actually is not part of the communications upgrade. That was an issue that was found earlier in the school year in the basement, that we needed to have some contractors come in and actually remove some fungi.
Is it going to be, it's already been done?
It's been done, yes. Yes.
Where, it was in the basement?
It was in the basement of the common school, yes.
It's not the first time, am I correct, Martha?
No.
Yeah, over the years, we've
Yes.
done this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We really need to look at that common school.
Okay, I don't disagree. But the other question I had is the wide area network in the past, Fairfield was not part of that because of the wiring, but I understand there's fiber running to Fairfield now?
This will include, the wide area network will include Fairfield.
Does it right now, or this will bring it to it?
Right now, Fairfield has its own fiber going into the building that is not part of the network.
Right.
Our network. It will all be connected.
Sweet.
So it will be all one network.
Wow, we're dope. Who keeps this network? Who maintains it?
The IT department will be the ones that.
Our IT department?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Steve? Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, funding's approved 5-0. Item B, sick bank language. Employees Association wants to include allowing an employee to care for a family member with a catastrophic illness or injury. Administration would like direction. Because this deals with contract negotiations and certainly with strategy,
Not so much personnel.
So I think it does fall under 3131B, but we do need to have a finding that to do this in public session would put us at a disadvantage.
So moved.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. I think it's pretty clear that this is a strategy item, so all those in favor of moving this to executive session indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we'll move that to executive session. Then we go to 5C, which is also, this is disciplinary issues. This doesn't need a finding. We will move that to executive session under 313.4. And we'll go to other business. We have some warrants.
Motion to approve the warrants.
Thank you, Mike. Second on the warrants?
Second.
Thank you, Sally. Any questions on the warrants? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Warrants approved 5-0. Dr. Jarrett, you're up.
The only part that I want to talk about relative to report tonight is I just urge everyone to keep informed as to our legislature's work right now on various issues around school funding, around pre-K, around special ed, around gun safety. They're around health insurance, thank you. They're busy bodies right now, and it has potential to have great impact for us along the way. I debated talking about them tonight, but they're changing on a daily basis, so whatever I talk about is not going to be right tomorrow. So, but through Vermont Digger or however you go about it, I urge you to just keep informed.
Is the VSBA also working on this? I assume they're working on this legislation.
VSBA is very involved. VSA is very involved. But they're confused too.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm reading from, when you click on the links and everything else. It's not clear.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
Okay.
We all feel the same way.
Okay.
Although it's very impactful, and so it's concerning until we know what the end result is.
Any new news on the hunt for a new secretary?
Bet, since I talked to you last, as you probably know, Heather Bushy is in there right now, who is the interim secretary. They're looking for an interim secretary. It's believed that interim secretary will be the hammer that is put into place for a few months, making the decisions on Act 46. So that will be the least liked person in the state of Vermont.
Which they have to decide by June 1st?
Yeah.
Least liked person, is that what you said?
The least liked person, because that person will be making the final decisions on what's happening with the Act 46 people. I believe, if I know our former secretary, there's probably a map already done.
Yeah, it's probably done.
Yeah.
But that interim secretary will be the person who has to put the hammer on it. And while that person is in place for probably 3 months in the vicinity, they are in a national search for a new secretary. And to my knowledge at this point, there's no one in the state that's even at all interested.
Do you have a theory why?
It's, as I said last time, Mike, it's become too political.
Really? Yeah.
The issue of Act 46, of having when that person does get in, then they have to implement this new map. You have a governor who's there for 2 years, and then may or may not be there, and then the secretary may or may not be in the job. So it's not exactly a permanent position. So it's, ever since that's become an agency of education, and you know, there was that debate 4 years ago when they went from Commissioner of Education to Secretary of Education, that this would happen, and it's been true. And it's politicizing education, and it's been tough, so it's hard to find the people.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Anything else?
That's it for me.
And that brings us to Angela for administration.
So I have the attached report, and I didn't know if the board had any questions. One of the big recent highlights that's in here, and there's lots of great photos, is our drama production of Olivia that occurred last week, and the kids did a fantastic job. And I actually was in North Carolina at the Center for Creative Leadership class with Joan and Shannon, so I wasn't here for it, so I'm looking forward to watching it on Channel 15 next week when I get a few minutes. And I did have one, I don't know if there were any questions on anything else. I had one add-on, if there wasn't.
Is that something they ever put on Vimeo? Performances? I mean, if they do tape it?
That's a good question.
I think that would be pretty cool.
Northwest Access has a YouTube channel, so maybe they...
Rochelle said it would be on YouTube through Channel 15. But
So I'm wondering if we could link it through the Maple Run page. If we do board meetings.
Yeah.
the add-on that I had, and it's actually an attachment that Brenda just added because I didn't have the article before the board meeting. There's a link there that if you click on it, takes a minute to load it, but once you get on there, you'll see it's a link to the Journal of School Safety. It's the official publication of the National Association of School Resource Officers. And I point that out once you get it open, if you click over 4 slots, there's an article that our school resource officer, Officer Landman, wrote, and it has a couple of photos, and he references the importance role of the SRO in making connections with students, building relationships, and helping them see potential in future careers. These 2 students, it says 2015, and by their height, I'm thinking they were probably in 5th or 6th grade, but they're 8th graders right now. They were really interested in law enforcement, and so Roger connected them with the local game warden who came in and had lunch, and they continued the relationship, and there was an article that was out in the Courier like the following year or 2, and then the game warden came back and had lunch with them again. So it was a really great example, and Roger, this is the 2nd time he's been published in this magazine.
What's his last name, Angela? Roger
Langevin. Yes. So it's on page 8, so you have to hit the click over 4 times because there's a double page. So, but just take a look at it. You'll see the students and the article there. But it was just another great example of the positive community and student connections that our SRO has brought.
Nice. Any questions for Angela?
Angela, one of these field trip requests are for your what you mentioned in Iowa, right?
Yes, that is correct. So one of the teams, the Balsa team, there were actually very few. They were the only entrants of their division, but they performed very well, and the judges had some really positive things. So they were eligible to go to Worlds. The parents met, and the team decided there was only about half of the team that was really interested. It's a big commitment to travel that far. Usually parents like to go, so it's taking time off. And 3 of the families wanted to go ahead with that, and they've been doing some fundraising. And so they'll be headed to Ames, Iowa, before the May Memorial Day weekend.
That's great.
Mhm.
So is fundraising a problem, or you think they'll be able to pull it off?
I think they're doing well. I just gave them a large bag of cans from the front office, and they're doing all kinds of little things, so they're making good headway. I know, so I'll take care of it pretty much. Yeah, they're doing well with that, but still working on it.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Angela. We'll move to principal voices. Chris, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Farr. I've got two recognitions I just want to share with you. This is a proclamation, a concurrent House resolution recognizing our students who participated in the robotics competition. And I just want to make sure that people are aware that that is a vital program at BFA. Mr. Walker and Mr. Samula do a really nice job in getting kids excited about robotics, and Pete came in with the proclamation, and I just wanted to make sure you good folks had it and can find an appropriate place to hang it to recognize our kids. So it's great. Just wanted to make sure you had that. It's official and signed by the appropriate legislators. And I also wanted to mention that our music students had a tremendous experience over the last weekend. They went to Maine, they went to Connecticut to learn at the Hart School of Music. They came up to Boston and they did a duck boat tour, and also I had a chance to be with them at Fenway Park. And we had a really good time, and our parents and the teachers who were there, of course, Mr. Moulton was there, as was Mr. Messier and Mr. Bushy, and these kids just had the time of their life throughout the travel and the sightseeing. Most importantly, we did get messages from the people at the Hart School of Music. I got an email from Betsy Cooper, who is the dean there, and was really appreciative of having our students come down and work with their instructors. And she mentioned, and I passed this along to Dr. Randall, that they're offering now auditions to juniors, and they're talking about scholarship opportunities for our kids. So it's a very nice connection, and I think it may pay dividends for future music students going forward. So it's just a very nice trip, and hats off to those gentlemen who organized it, and for the parents who helped support the trip.
Great, thanks. Did Alec get to do the announcing?
Oh, Alec Wolf. So I don't know if you know Alec, but he's quite something. And
Is he a senior now?
yes.
Can you tell me who he?
Alec is one of our students.
Yeah.
Who's visually challenged, and is very excited about sports broadcasting. He does an internship with the local ESPN network, and during the trip to Fenway, got a chance to meet Tom Caron from the New England Sports Network, and also met with Joe Castiglione, who's a broadcast Hall of Famer and voice of the Red Sox for many years. And Alec came back from his little visit up to the booth and came back to where we were in the grandstand and had a signature with Joe Castiglione on one sleeve of his Red Sox jersey and Tom Caron on the other. So he was thrilled, and I think made a great impression. He's in my I Knew You When club, because when Alec makes it big in radio broadcasting, I want to say, I knew that kid when he was just a high school senior at BFA.
So if he becomes wealthy, we could hit him up for
that's
donations.
basically the
yeah,
yes.
right.
That's the path forward, as we say.
Okay.
Great. Jeff, saw you in here.
My turn?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Jim.
There you go.
We are pleased to host the Maple Festival next weekend. It'll be in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, utilizing the cafeteria, the gym, and the Performing Arts Center. So that's always a great event, obviously, here for the community. May 4th is our annual Bob White Comet Contest, where the seniors compete for cash prizes, if you will. It's a very fun evening, and if you get a chance, come to that. I believe it starts at 7, but you want to get there early to get there because it is packed. It's a full house. That is Friday, May 4th. And
Where in the school is that?
in the Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
And on Saturday, May 5th, is our prom, which will be at the Davis Center. So if you want to get all decked out and get your dancing shoes on, come join us from 7 to 11 at the Davis Center at UVM. Thank you.
Preston.
Yes, I'm excited to report that tomorrow a group of students will be going with Karen Chesser, our career coach, on a military trades tour. So students interested in the armed forces, they'll be going down to the National Air Guard base in South Burlington. And also just pleased that Global Foundries and Husky Manufacturing, a couple of manufacturers down in Chittenden County, have reached out to me because they are interested in employing some of our students upon graduation. So some fantastic opportunities, and I've been working with Kath Lavoie here in Franklin County to make sure we're making those same connections in Franklin County for students who might be going off to college but looking to return to the area, or who might not be going off to college and looking for a nice steady career right here locally.
Thank you. Leanne?
On April 5th, 2 Thursdays ago, we had close to 60 students that went to the Sheridan to compete for our Skills USA competition, state competition, where 750 students descended on Burlington and competed in their technical skill area. We had over 31, actually exactly 31 students medal, so it was first, second, or third place. 10 of those were first place winners, and they are headed to Louisville, Kentucky last week in June to compete at the national level. So we're sending them off to Kentucky, and we are also handing out cans for them to fundraise. So, good news.
Awesome. Lisa, anything?
This is an adult ed update. We just completed an LNA class where we had 18 candidates, and 5 of them were high school students. They just tested yesterday. 4 of the high school students were able to take the test, and 4 of them passed. The one who couldn't take the test, it's because she's only 15. And you have to be 16 to take the LNA test. So that just goes to show you how remarkable these students are to take an LNA class, licensed nurse assistant, and to take the exam and to become officially licensed through the Vermont Board of Nursing. So that was exciting for the kids.
Dave.
Well, I hope you all saw the article in this weekend's St. Albans Messenger with regards to the project you all approved for the field renovations at the Collins Pearly campus. I'm sorry to say that no one has called me to urge me to come and pick up a check right away.
You need some cans?
But
we can empty some cans for you.
Yeah. Clearly, the weather conditions we've had are a good example of need. You may not have seen in this weekend's Wall Street Journal, there was also a very interesting article on artificial turf fields. And it brought up several of the questions that I think we answered or tried to answer when we made the presentation. But I did just want to mention that if people see articles such as that, and if anybody ever has any questions or concerns about what we're doing, at any time be more than happy to provide background information and answer any questions. I think that clearly we are on the right path, and I do hope that we'll be able to be successful.
I don't think there's going to be a special fund in Washington for that.
Joe.
Or any grants coming out of.
Not right away, I don't think.
No. Well, it's a good project. I hope it gets started. That's the important thing.
We get enough of
the money starts coming in.
We have a chance, but not with the current makeup of Washington.
Joan?
So going into April break, our students throughout the building are putting the finishing touches on their e-portfolios, because when they come back, it's student parent-teacher conference week. Today, I got to do the second meeting with drama teachers from SATEC, BFA, and City, and we are designing a performance so that our students will be headlining Convocation this year. They will be the keynote, and we're really excited about that, and it has just been so much fun to be working with drama teachers across the district. So lots of great, wonderful things are happening.
Thank you. Stacy, anything to add?
Of course. So we also had a drama performance last weekend of Alice in Wonderland, which was 3 great days. They performed for the school on Thursday, and then they had a performance Friday night and Saturday. Since we last had a meeting, we had what we call our annual fancy dance at school, which is geared for first, second, and third graders to get dressed up in their best duds and come and dance. We had over 150 first, second, and third graders come, and they made a small donation, and with their small donation, they got to get their nails painted, to dance, to play games. They get snacks. And it's all spearheaded by our 8th graders who are looking to raise money for their end of the year field trip. So they run the whole thing. Like, they meet with me and I send them off to do whatever it is they need to do. They do all the advertising, they count out all the money, they do all that kind of stuff. And it was very well attended. Like I said, there was over 150 kids, and there were 20 8th graders who really did a nice job this year of engaging the kids. They wear white shirts and black pants, and they come out with trays, and Joan is the head waitress, and they come out and they serve the kids. And there are tables that are set up with tablecloths, and it's very fancy. They look forward to it every year, as do the teachers of 1-3, who think it's like prom. They come out like it's the best thing ever. Mitch did some great photos for us. And the 8th graders this year decided to do a photo booth, so they had all kinds of things the kids could dress up as, and Mitch took their pictures, so it was a great night had by all.
Awesome. So Mitch, do we get to see some of those pictures?
Let's see. Angela, anything else? No? Jason? Nothing else? No?
Can I just ask Chris a question?
Yeah, fair away.
We have student-written plays this week being performed at BFA. Is that
Tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow night.
tomorrow night?
That's right.
Okay. I was floored by the last one-act play, and now I want to go to these other ones. So I mean,
It was a wonderful presentation, the one act, absolutely.
I was absolutely blown away. I've seen my share of theater and stuff, but this was really good. Coming from a high school group, I have to say.
We have some very talented kids, some newcomers, and Ms. Palmer's done a very good job in bringing a lot of energy to drama, and I think it's starting to pay off.
I'm glad you noticed that, Mike. Because I agree with you. That is the drama program in 1 year has come so far.
Well, it's made me want to go see these plays now too. So and try to catch all of them. But it was more than just a little impressive. If I can understate that a little.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Agenda items for next meeting. I have a question. With the legalization of marijuana happening July 1st, are we going to need to revisit any policies or create policies that affect that speak to that?
You can speak to that.
We might have it covered, but I think we should probably look to see.
I believe we have it covered, but there's no reason why we shouldn't take a look.
Yeah, because it could have said illegal before, now it doesn't cover it if it's legal, right? So I think we ought to take a look at that anyway.
In regards to students
But
or
it's still
staff
illegal
or the
for
both?
students.
I was thinking more staff, actually.
Yeah, and I think that is, we did talk about that the last time we met, that policy, I remember.
Anything else? Okay. In that case, I would ask for a motion to move into executive session. The two items we discussed earlier, and that would be discussion on the sick bank language, and item 8C, the disciplinary discussions for 2 staff members. I'd like to invite the superintendent, Kathy, Julie, and who else wants to stay?
So moved.
Thank you, Mike. Second?
Oh, sorry, we got all excited with those projects.
All those in favor of moving into executive session, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? 5-0. We're in executive session. Thank you, everybody.